What if I told you that the cure for your bloating, your cramping, your reflux, and your broken digestion isn't sitting in a pharmacy? It's growing in gardens, forests, and farms all over the world, not prescription medications with a list of side effects longer than the problem they're solving. Not expensive probiotic supplements that never survive your stomach acid. I'm talking about plants that have been rebuilding the human gut for thousands of years. Plants that science is now proving can physically coat, repair, and restore your intestinal lining at the cellular level. Most people don't know this, but there are plants out there that literally rebuild the gut wall. Plants that feed the bacteria your body depends on. Plants that calm the inflammation, stop the spasms, and seal the damage that modern food has done to your insides. And today, I'm going to show you 20 of them, and they will change the way you think about your gut forever. Stick around, because number 7 on this list has been used after meals in traditional cultures for thousands of years. And the mechanism behind why it works is something most gastroenterologists have never explained to their patients. And number 12 contains more of the gut-rebuilding compound inulin than almost any other food on earth, and almost nobody is eating it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we post new videos every week on traditional healing, medicinal plants, and the wisdom your great-grandparents knew that modern medicine forgot. Let's get into it. Here are 20 gut healing plants, ranked from powerful to absolutely essential. Number 1, aloe vera, the desert plant that heals from the inside out. You already know aloe vera as the sunburn remedy, the plant on your windowsill, the green gel you reach for after too much sun. But here's what almost nobody tells you. The same soothing intelligence that cools a burn on the outside is doing something extraordinary when it reaches your gut. Aloe barbadensis contains a thick, clear mucilage, a gel-like compound that coats the entire digestive tract the way a bandage coats a wound. If you've got an inflamed esophagus, an irritated stomach lining, or a raw intestinal wall, aloe vera physically drapes itself over that tissue and creates a protective barrier between the damaged surface and everything passing through. Here's the mechanism that makes this remarkable. Aloe contains polysaccharides, long-chain sugars, that activate fibroblasts, the cells responsible for tissue repair, the same cells that patch up skin after a cut. Aloe tells your intestinal lining to start healing itself. Studies have shown aloe vera gel reduces inflammation markers in patients with inflammatory bowel conditions. It supports healthy bowel motility. It regulates pH in the digestive tract. This isn't symptom masking. This is active gut repair from a plant that's been used internally in traditional medicine for millennia. Ancient Egyptians called aloe the plant of immortality. They weren't just talking about the skin, they were drinking it. Number 2, slippery elm, the indigenous gut healer. Slippery elm is one of the most important medicinal trees in North American indigenous healing traditions. And once you understand the mechanism, you'll understand exactly why. Ulmus rubra, the inner bark of the slippery elm tree, contains one of the most extraordinary mucilage compounds in the plant kingdom. When you mix slippery elm powder with water, it transforms into a thick, slippery gel. It becomes, quite literally, a coating agent for your entire digestive tract. Here's what makes slippery elm different from any pharmaceutical treatment for gut inflammation. It doesn't suppress. It doesn't block. It coats. It creates a physical protective layer over irritated tissue in the esophagus, stomach, and intestines, reducing friction, calming inflammation, and giving damaged tissue the time and protection it needs to repair itself. Traditional healers use slippery elm for gastritis, ulcers, reflux, and diarrhea. Modern research is confirming every one of those applications. The FDA has actually recognized slippery elm bark as a safe and effective oral demulcent, a soothing coating agent for mucous membranes. For people with IBS, Crohn's, or chronic reflux, slippery elm provides something no acid blocker can: physical protection at the mucosal level. This is a tree that has been quietly healing human digestive systems for thousands of years, and it deserves to be in every kitchen. Number 3, marshmallow root, the soothing polysaccharide. Powerhouse, marshmallow root has nothing to do with the sugary white puff in your hot chocolate. The real marshmallow, Althea officinalis, is a medicinal herb with a 4,000-year history of healing inflamed tissue. The mechanism is the same principle as slippery elm, but the chemistry is distinct. Marshmallow root is packed with mucilaginous polysaccharides that form a thick, protective gel when they contact water and when they contact the lining of your digestive tract. Here's what that means in practice. If you have a leaky gut, a condition where the intestinal lining becomes permeable and allows undigested particles to cross into the bloodstream, marshmallow root literally helps seal that barrier. The polysaccharides coat the inflamed, damaged tissue and create an environment where the gut can begin to regenerate. Studies on marshmallow root have demonstrated anti-inflammatory activity, reduced irritation in gastric tissue, and measurable improvements in gut lining integrity. The root also supports healthy mucus production, the body's own protective coating system that gets depleted by stress, processed food, and antibiotic use. Traditional herbalists used marshmallow root for the stomach, the throat, the urinary tract, any inflamed mucous membrane in the body. The plant doesn't discriminate. It soothes. Marshmallow root teaches us that sometimes the most powerful healing isn't dramatic. It's gentle, consistent, and structural. Number 4, ginger, the universal digestive remedy. Ginger might be the most universally used digestive plant in human history, and there's a reason for that. It works on almost every digestive complaint simultaneously. Zingiber officinale contains bioactive compounds called gingerols and shogaols that act on the digestive system through multiple mechanisms at once. This isn't a one-trick herb. Ginger is a complete digestive system reset. Here's what ginger actually does. It stimulates saliva production, the first step of digestion. It promotes gastric emptying, the movement of food from the stomach into the small intestine, which is why it's so effective for nausea and the heavy, sluggish feeling after meals. It stimulates bile production in the gallbladder. It activates digestive enzymes, and it reduces intestinal inflammation. For nausea specifically, morning sickness, motion sickness, post-surgical nausea, ginger has been tested head-to-head against pharmaceutical antiemetics and frequently performs comparably, without the side effects. For bloating and gas, ginger works as a carminative, helping trapped gas move through the digestive system and reducing the distension and discomfort that comes with it. The anti-inflammatory effects of gingerols target the same pathways as common anti-inflammatory drugs. Research shows ginger reduces inflammatory markers in the gut lining specifically, critical for anyone dealing with chronic digestive inflammation. Traditional medicine from India to China to the Caribbean knew ginger as the universal digestive cure. Modern science is just writing the footnotes. Number 5, turmeric, the golden anti-inflammatory. Turmeric has earned its reputation. Over 15,000 scientific studies, applications across nearly every system in the body. But nowhere does turmeric's power show up more directly than in the gut. Curcuma longa contains curcumin, one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory compounds ever studied. And chronic gut inflammation, whether from IBD, IBS, food sensitivities, or just a lifetime of processed food, is the root driver of most digestive disease. Here's the mechanism. Curcumin inhibits NF-κB, one of the primary molecular switches that activates the inflammatory cascade. When gut inflammation turns on, it triggers a cascade that damages the intestinal lining, disrupts the microbiome, increases intestinal permeability, and creates a self-reinforcing cycle of damage. Curcumin interrupts that cycle at the source. Studies on curcumin and inflammatory bowel disease are compelling. Clinical trials have shown that curcumin supplementation reduces relapse rates in ulcerative colitis patients, improves symptom scores in Crohn's disease, and supports healthy intestinal tissue. These aren't fringe findings. These are reproducible human clinical trials. Curcumin also modulates the gut microbiome, increasing populations of beneficial bacteria and reducing harmful ones. It supports the integrity of tight junction proteins, the molecular locks that keep the gut lining sealed and functional. The challenge with turmeric is absorption. Curcumin on its own is poorly bioavailable. Combine it with black pepper, which contains piperine, a bioavailability enhancer, and absorption increases by up to 2,000%. Traditional cuisine figured this out long before pharmaceutical scientists did. Number 6, peppermint, the intestinal muscle relaxer. Here's something that will reframe how you think about peppermint. That herb in your tea, your toothpaste, your after-dinner candy. It contains compounds that directly relax the smooth muscle lining of your intestines. Mentha piperita works on the gut through a mechanism that pharmaceutical antispasmodic drugs attempt to replicate. It calms the involuntary muscle contractions that cause cramping, pain, and the unpredictable bowel behavior of IBS. The active compound, menthol, interacts with calcium channels in intestinal smooth muscle. When those channels are blocked, the muscles relax. Spasms stop, cramping eases. The bowel stops overreacting. Enteric-coated peppermint oil is actually one of the most evidence-backed interventions for IBS that exists. Multiple meta-analyses, analyses of multiple clinical trials, have confirmed its effectiveness for reducing IBS pain, bloating, and urgency. It outperforms placebo consistently and significantly. But peppermint also has prebiotic and antimicrobial properties that support a healthy gut microbiome. It helps reduce harmful bacterial overgrowth while supporting beneficial populations. The enteric-coated form is important for gut-specific benefits. It allows the peppermint to pass through the stomach without releasing in the esophagus, where it can actually worsen reflux. For IBS and intestinal cramping, that coating is key. For the gut specifically, peppermint is not a folk remedy. It is one of the most studied and validated plant-based interventions that exists. Number 7. Fennel, the after-meal ritual that actually works. There's a reason that across Mediterranean Europe, the Middle East, and South Asia, eating fennel seeds after a meal has been a daily ritual for thousands of years. The mechanism behind this tradition is specific, validated, and elegant. Feniculum vulgare contains volatile oils, primarily anethole, that work as powerful carminatives. Carminatives relax the smooth muscle of the intestinal tract, allowing trapped gas to move freely through the system and be expelled rather than building up into bloating and pressure. Here's the pattern most people don't recognize. Bloating after meals isn't just about gas. It's about sluggish motility, the intestines not moving food along efficiently, combined with fermentation of undigested food by gut bacteria. Fennel addresses both. It stimulates digestive motility. It reduces the fermentation that produces excess gas, and it relaxes the muscles that trap gas in the first place. Studies on fennel have confirmed its antispasmodic and carminative properties. For infants with colic, the most sensitive population, fennel tea has been shown in controlled trials to reduce crying duration and abdominal distension significantly. If it works for a colic-suffering infant, it works. Fennel also supports liver and bile function, improves the breakdown of fatty foods, and contains anti-inflammatory compounds that calm gut lining irritation. Traditional cultures didn't have a science lab, but they had thousands of years of observation, and they all arrived at the same conclusion. Fennel after meals works. Number 8. Chamomile, the anti-spasm. Calm, chamomile is the herb most associated with relaxation. And that calming effect isn't just psychological, it's pharmacological. And it works on the gut just as powerfully as it works on the nervous system. Matricaria chamomilla contains apigenin and other flavonoids that exert direct antispasmodic effects on the smooth muscle of the digestive tract. When your gut goes into spasm, whether from stress, irritants, or inflammatory triggers, chamomile compounds reach that muscle and tell it to relax. Here's what makes chamomile especially valuable for gut healing. The gut-brain axis is real. The enteric nervous system, the network of over 100 million neurons lining your digestive tract, is in constant communication with the brain. Stress tightens the gut. Anxiety triggers IBS flares. Chamomile works on both ends of that connection simultaneously, calming the nervous system and directly relaxing the intestinal muscle. Chamomile also has measurable anti-inflammatory effects on the gut lining. Studies show it reduces mucosal inflammation, accelerates healing of gastric ulcers, and protects against stress-induced gut damage. Traditional medicine across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa used chamomile for every digestive complaint: colic, gastritis, IBS, cramping, ulcers. And modern research has validated every one of those applications. This is the herb that treats the gut from both directions at once, calming the brain that drives the gut crazy, and calming the gut itself. Number 9. Licorice root, the mucus layer restorer. Licorice root is one of the oldest documented medicines on Earth. References to its use appear in ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, Chinese, and Greek medical texts. And its most remarkable modern application is something those ancient healers understood intuitively. It rebuilds the protective mucus layer of the gut. Glycyrrhiza glabra contains compounds that directly stimulate the production of mucus in the stomach and intestinal lining. That mucus layer is not incidental. It is the frontline defense of your gut. It separates your gut bacteria from your gut wall. It protects the lining from stomach acid, digestive enzymes, and pathogenic bacteria. Modern diets, stress, NSAIDs, and antibiotic courses deplete that mucus layer. When it thins, the gut wall becomes vulnerable. Gastritis develops. Ulcers form. Permeability increases. DGL licorice, deglycyrrhizinated licorice, which has the blood pressure raising compound removed, has been specifically studied for its ability to restore mucus production and protect the gut lining. Clinical studies have shown DGL licorice comparable to antacids for gastric discomfort, without the long-term consequences of acid suppression. Licorice also contains anti-inflammatory compounds that reduce gut lining inflammation, and antispasmodic compounds that calm digestive cramping. Traditional medicine didn't understand the molecular mechanism, but they knew that licorice root fixed gut problems. They were right. If you're finding this valuable, hit that like button and drop a comment below telling me which plant you're adding to your routine first. And subscribe to Homestead Roots for more videos on medicinal plants, traditional healing, and the wisdom your great-grandparents used to live well without a prescription. Number 10. Dandelion, the weed that feeds your microbiome. The dandelion is one of the most underestimated medicinal plants on Earth. What most people spray with herbicide and throw away, traditional herbalists have used for centuries as one of the most complete digestive tonics in the plant kingdom. Taraxacum officinale works on gut health through multiple pathways. It stimulates bile production in the liver and bile release from the gallbladder, critical for the digestion and absorption of fats and fat-soluble nutrients. Without adequate bile, fat digestion breaks down, leading to bloating, fatty stools, and nutrient deficiencies. But here's where dandelion becomes genuinely exciting. The roots and leaves are rich in inulin and other prebiotic fibers, compounds that your digestive enzymes can't break down, but your beneficial gut bacteria can. Dandelion essentially feeds your microbiome. The research on prebiotics and gut health is among the most significant in modern nutritional science. The composition of your gut microbiome influences your immune system, your mood, your weight, your skin, and your risk of nearly every chronic disease. Feeding beneficial bacteria with prebiotic fiber is one of the most direct ways to improve every one of those outcomes. Dandelion root has also demonstrated anti-inflammatory effects on gut tissue and prebiotic compounds that specifically increase populations of lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, the bacteria most consistently associated with digestive health and immune function. The weed in your lawn might be the most valuable plant in your yard. Number 11. Garlic, the prebiotic and pathogen fighter. Garlic occupies a unique position in gut healing. It does two things simultaneously that seem almost contradictory. It feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and it kills harmful ones. Allium sativum contains fructooligosaccharides, fructans, that function as potent prebiotic fibers. These compounds pass through the small intestine undigested and reach the colon, where they selectively feed lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, and other beneficial bacterial populations. At the same time, garlic's allicin and other organosulfur compounds have broad-spectrum antimicrobial activity. Studies have shown garlic extracts effective against Helicobacter pylori, the bacterium responsible for most stomach ulcers, against candida overgrowth, against a range of pathogenic bacteria that disrupt the gut ecosystem. This dual action, prebiotic support for beneficial bacteria combined with targeted pressure on harmful populations, makes garlic one of the most sophisticated gut rebalancing tools in nature. The mechanism matters. It's not that garlic kills all bacteria equally. The compounds in garlic appear to suppress pathogenic species, while the prebiotic fibers simultaneously encourage beneficial ones. Traditional medicine systems worldwide incorporated garlic into healing protocols precisely because of this rebalancing effect. Modern research on garlic and the microbiome consistently shows increases in microbial diversity, the single best marker of gut health following regular garlic consumption. Raw garlic delivers the most potent effect. Cooked garlic retains the prebiotic compounds with reduced allicin content. Both have a role in gut healing. Both are accessible, affordable, and available everywhere. Number 12. Jerusalem artichoke, the inulin powerhouse. Jerusalem artichoke isn't actually an artichoke, and it has no connection to Jerusalem. It's a native North American sunflower, Helianthus tuberosus, and it contains more inulin per gram than almost any food on Earth. Inulin is the most researched prebiotic compound in existence. It is the preferred food source for Bifidobacterium, one of the most beneficial genus of bacteria in the human gut. And it does something most supplements can't. It physically restructures the microbial ecosystem of the colon. Here's what the research shows. When people consume inulin-rich foods regularly, Bifidobacterium populations increase. As Bifidobacterium increases, it produces short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, acetate, propionate, that are the primary energy source for colonocytes, the cells lining your colon. Butyrate, specifically, has anti-inflammatory effects on the gut lining, reduces intestinal permeability, and is associated with reduced risk of colorectal disease. In other words, eating Jerusalem artichoke feeds bacteria that produce compounds that heal your gut lining. That's a complete, plant-powered gut repair cycle. A note of caution, Jerusalem artichokes are powerful. Start slowly. The fermentation of high-dose inulin can cause significant gas and bloating as the microbiome adjusts. This is actually a sign it's working. Your bacteria are active, but the transition needs to be gradual. This is one of the most significant gut-healing foods you can grow in a backyard garden, and almost nobody is talking about it. Number 13. Chicory root, the coffee substitute that feeds your gut. Chicory root has been used as a coffee substitute for centuries. Roasted, brewed, and served as a bitter, warming drink in times when coffee was scarce. But the reason to use chicory root has nothing to do with caffeine replacement. It's one of the richest natural sources of inulin in the plant kingdom. Psyllium intybus root contains up to 48% inulin by dry weight. The commercial inulin and FOS, fructooligosaccharides, supplements sold in health food stores, are most commonly derived directly from chicory root. You can get the same compound from the plant itself, cheaper, whole, and in a form that traditional medicine has used for gut health for thousands of years. Studies on chicory-derived inulin specifically show consistent increases in Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus, reduced markers of intestinal inflammation, improved bowel regularity, and measurable improvements in gut permeability markers. Chicory root also contains anti-inflammatory sesquiterpene lactones and hepatoprotective compounds that support liver function, the organ most directly linked to bile production and the first stage of healthy digestion. The bitter flavor of chicory root is itself a digestive signal. Bitter compounds stimulate bile production and digestive enzyme secretion before food even reaches the stomach. Traditional herbal medicine used bitters before meals for this exact reason. Chicory delivers both the prebiotic inulin and the bitter digestive stimulant in a single plant. Number 14. Burdock root, the underground gut rebuilder. Burdock root is the plant best known in the West as the origin of Velcro. The seed heads inspired the hook and loop fastener. But in traditional Asian and European medicine, Arctium lapa is known for something far more valuable: rebuilding digestive health from the ground up. Burdock root contains inulin and other prebiotic fibers that feed beneficial gut bacteria. It contains mucilaginous compounds that coat and soothe the intestinal lining, and it contains anti-inflammatory polyphenols, chlorogenic acid, quercetin, luteolin, that reduce inflammatory activity throughout the digestive tract. Research on burdock root has demonstrated hepatoprotective effects, protection of liver cells, which directly supports bile production and fat digestion. Studies show anti-inflammatory activity at the gut mucosal level and positive modulation of the gut microbiome. Traditional herbalism used burdock root as a deep cleanser, not in a detox diet marketing sense, but in the specific sense of supporting the liver and the digestive organs in their fundamental work of processing and clearing waste. The root was used long-term, consistently, as a food and medicine simultaneously. In Japan, burdock root, gobo, is a standard culinary ingredient, eaten regularly as a vegetable. That consistency of use over generations is exactly the kind of evidence traditional medicine is built on. Burdock proves that some of the most powerful gut healing plants look like weeds and taste like earth. Number 15. Cinnamon, the digestive balancer. Cinnamon is the spice in every kitchen cabinet, the smell of comfort food and holiday baking. But inside Cinnamomum verum is a set of bioactive compounds that have a specific and measurable effect on digestive function. The primary active compound, cinnamaldehyde, has antimicrobial activity against a range of pathogens that commonly disrupt the gut ecosystem, including H. pylori, Candida species, and various harmful bacteria. It creates conditions in the gut that favor beneficial bacteria over harmful ones. Cinnamon also regulates blood sugar and insulin response, and this connection to gut health is more direct than most people realize. Blood sugar spikes drive gut inflammation. Insulin resistance is associated with altered gut microbiome composition. Cinnamon's ability to blunt blood sugar response after meals creates a metabolic environment where the gut can heal rather than constantly managing inflammatory damage. Studies show cinnamon reduces gut inflammation markers, supports healthy gastric motility, and reduces intestinal cramping. Traditional Chinese, Ayurvedic, and European herbal traditions all use cinnamon for digestive complaints, bloating, diarrhea, gas, nausea, independently arriving at the same conclusion. Ceylon cinnamon, true cinnamon, is the variety with the best safety profile for regular use. Cassia cinnamon, the common grocery store variety, contains higher levels of coumarin, which can be problematic in large doses. This is a spice hiding a therapeutic tool. The dosage you'd use medicinally is only slightly more than what you'd use in the kitchen. Number 16. Cumin, the enzyme activator. Cumin is foundational to the cuisines of India, the Middle East, North Africa, and Latin America, and that widespread culinary adoption across cultures is not coincidence. It's accumulated wisdom about what cumin does to a digestive system. Cuminum cyminum contains volatile oils, cuminaldehyde, thymol, and others, that directly stimulate the secretion of digestive enzymes from the pancreas. More digestive enzymes mean more complete digestion of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Incomplete digestion is one of the primary drivers of bloating, gas, and intestinal discomfort. Studies on cumin and digestion have confirmed its enzyme-stimulating activity and shown it increases secretion of bile acids, improving fat digestion and absorption. For people with sluggish digestion, food intolerances, or enzyme deficiency, cumin provides direct physiological support. Cumin also has carminative properties that reduce gas formation and the cramping that comes with it. Traditional Ayurvedic medicine classified cumin as one of the most important digestive spices, herbs that improve the digestive process itself rather than just treating symptoms. The anti-inflammatory polyphenols in cumin protect the gut lining from ongoing damage. Studies have also shown cumin to have a positive effect on gut microbiome composition, selectively supporting beneficial bacterial populations. Traditional medicine across 4 continents agreed on cumin as a digestive essential. When that much cultural convergence points at one plant, the science tends to follow. Number 17. Coriander, the gas and bloat resolver. Coriander, or cilantro, depending on whether you're talking about the seeds or the leaves, has been a digestive remedy for over 3,000 years. Coriandrum sativum appears in ancient Egyptian medical papyri, Ayurvedic texts, and medieval European herbals, all describing the same application, reducing gas, bloating, and digestive discomfort. The mechanism is the same family of volatile oils found in fennel and cumin, linalool being the primary active compound in coriander. These compounds relax intestinal smooth muscle, reducing spasms and allowing trapped gas to move and be expelled. The carminative effect is rapid and measurable. Studies on coriander have confirmed its antispasmodic activity, shown reductions in bloating and abdominal distension in IBS patients, and demonstrated antimicrobial activity against gut pathogens. Coriander seeds also stimulate digestive enzyme secretion and support healthy liver function, the same bile-producing, digestion-initiating effects seen with dandelion and chicory root. An important note, the herb cilantro has a genetic controversy. A significant percentage of people perceive it as soapy, which is linked to a genetic variant in olfactory receptors. But coriander seeds, the dried fruit of the same plant, taste different and are widely tolerated. The digestive benefits are concentrated in both. Coriander proves that the herbs your ancestors put in food were also medicines. The line between kitchen spice and healing herb was never meant to be a hard one. Number 18. Plantain, the ancient gut liner, not the banana relative. The herb, Plantago major, broadleaf plantain, is one of the most widespread medicinal plants on Earth. It grows as a weed in almost every climate. Traditional healers on every inhabited continent independently recognized it as a wound healer, and that wound healing intelligence extends directly into the gut. Plantain leaves and seeds are rich in mucilage, the same soothing polysaccharide gel that makes slippery elm and marshmallow root so effective. When consumed, that mucilage coats the entire digestive tract, protecting irritated tissue, reducing friction, and creating the physical environment needed for healing. Plantain also contains aucubin and other iridoid compounds with specific anti-inflammatory activity. Studies show these compounds reduce inflammatory markers in gut tissue, protect the intestinal mucosa from damage, and support the regeneration of the gut lining. The fiber content of plantain seeds, distinct from psyllium but similarly mucilaginous, supports bowel regularity and feeds beneficial gut bacteria. What's remarkable about plantain is its accessibility. This isn't a plant you need to order online or find in a specialty store. It grows through sidewalk cracks, in lawns, at the edges of fields. Traditional healing cultures harvested it fresh, made it into tea, or prepared it as a poultice for wound healing. The internal applications parallel the external ones. Traditional medicine knew this plant as a healer of surfaces, skin, gut, mucous membranes. Modern research is proving that understanding correct. Number 19. Artichoke, the bile flow catalyst. Artichoke, Cinera scolamus, is best known as a food. The vegetable on an Italian appetizer plate, the heart in a salad. But inside the leaves of this thistle, relative is one of the most researched plant compounds for liver and gallbladder function, cynerin. Cynerin and silymarin-related compounds in artichoke leaves directly stimulate bile production in the liver and bile release from the gallbladder. Bile is not optional for gut health. It breaks down dietary fats, carries fat-soluble vitamins for absorption, neutralizes stomach acid as it enters the small intestine, and has antimicrobial effects that regulate the bacterial populations of the small intestine. When bile production is sluggish, as it is in many people with digestive problems, fat digestion fails. Nutrients go unabsorbed. The small intestine becomes vulnerable to bacterial overgrowth, and the entire digestive cascade falters. Clinical studies on artichoke leaf extract have shown significant improvements in IBS symptoms, bloating, nausea, abdominal pain, and meaningful improvements in bowel function. One large trial showed 96% of IBS patients rating artichoke leaf extract as effective or very effective. Artichoke also contains prebiotic inulin, adding another layer of gut microbiome support on top of its bile-stimulating effects. It is both a digestive catalyst and a microbiome feeder in one plant. This is a food that is also a medicine. In the traditional Mediterranean practice of eating it as an appetizer before a rich meal, makes perfect pharmacological sense. Number 20. Psyllium, the gut microbiome architecture builder. And here we arrive at number 20, the plant that is arguably the most direct, most researched, and most structurally important gut healing tool in this entire list. Plantago ovata Psyllium is a small plant native to the Mediterranean and South Asia. Its seeds are covered in husks, so rich in soluble fiber that when mixed with water, they form a thick gel unlike almost anything else in the plant kingdom. That gel is the mechanism. When psyllium moves through the intestines, it creates bulk and lubrication simultaneously. For constipation, it adds water-binding mass that stimulates peristalsis. For diarrhea, it absorbs excess fluid and regulates bowel consistency. Psyllium is genuinely bidirectional. It normalizes, rather than just stimulating or suppressing. But here's what makes psyllium extraordinary for gut healing beyond its mechanical action. The fermentation of psyllium fiber by gut bacteria produces short-chain fatty acids, particularly butyrate, that are the primary fuel source for colonocytes. Those cells lining your colon need butyrate to stay healthy, maintain tight junctions, and resist the permeability that defines leaky gut. Psyllium feeds the bacteria that produce the compound that heals the colon lining. Studies on psyllium and the gut microbiome show consistent increases in microbial diversity, selective growth of beneficial bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, and measurable improvements in gut barrier function. Clinical research supports psyllium for IBS, for cholesterol, for blood sugar regulation, for bowel regularity, for Crohn's disease maintenance, for hemorrhoids. The evidence base is among the strongest of any plant in this list. The fountain of gut health doesn't require exotic plants or expensive supplements. Sometimes it's a tiny seed with a gel-forming husk that has been rebuilding human intestinal architecture for thousands of years. If you made it this far, you now understand something that most people spend years and thousands of dollars trying to figure out. The solution to your gut health problems isn't another elimination diet, another round of antibiotics, or another probiotic supplement that dies in your stomach acid. It's plants. Plants that coat, protect, rebuild, feed, and rebalance the gut the way they have been doing for every human civilization before this one. These 20 plants represent a complete gut healing system. Plants that coat the damaged lining: aloe, slippery elm, marshmallow root, plantain. Plants that calm inflammation: turmeric, chamomile, ginger, licorice. Plants that restore the microbiome: dandelion, garlic, Jerusalem artichoke, chicory, burdock. Plants that optimize the digestive process: peppermint, fennel, coriander, cumin, cinnamon. Plants that catalyze bile flow and bowel function: artichoke, psyllium. You don't need all 20 at once. You need the ones that match your specific gut problem. And now you have the framework to find them. Traditional medicine healers didn't have clinical trials, but they had thousands of years of observation, refinement, and direct experience. They arrived at these plants independently, across cultures, across continents, across time. When that much accumulated human wisdom points in the same direction, modern science tends to follow. It always does. These plants reward consistency, not a 2-week cleanse. Daily, regular, purposeful use of the plants that match your gut's specific needs. That's how generational healers use them, and that's how they work. Your gut has the capacity to heal. It was designed to heal. It needs the right plants to do it. Smash that like button and drop a comment below. Tell me, which of these 20 plants are you starting with? Are you a mucilage person? Slippery elm? Marshmallow root? Are you a prebiotic person? Jerusalem artichoke? Chicory? Garlic? Or are you going straight to the anti-inflammatory core? Turmeric and ginger every morning. I read every comment, and I love knowing what's working for the Homestead Roots community. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We post every week on medicinal plants, traditional healing, and the real self-sufficiency our great-grandparents practiced. Your gut is the foundation of your health, and the plants to heal it have been here all along.